going forward. All right, so that is what we are saying. So if you look at this elucidation by the side, you will see that we have infrastructure systems. Infrastructure systems, these are systems that actually shoulder a lot of weight as it relates to these different areas: manufacturing, energy, communication, and transportation. These systems are large systems, multi-million or billion naira systems that requires serious protection from cyber criminal attacks. All right, are we together? So to round this section up, on a personal level, everyone needs to safeguard his or her identity, data, and computing devices. At the corporate level, it is the employee's responsibility to protect the organization's reputation, data, and customers. At the state level, national security and the citizens' safety and well-being are at stake. In the US, National Security Agency is responsible for intelligence collection and surveillance activities. So the effort to protect people's way of life often conflict with their right to privacy. Of course, this is something that I believe all of us should be aware of. So it is indeed very, very important for us to take note and to ensure that we are able to protect ourselves based on the level of course we are. Are we together, please? Yes, any question, or
Yeah.
do we move forward? Any question, please?
I think no question for me.
All right. Now, spreading cybersecurity threats. Now that we understand some of the threat arenas as well as domains, particularly that cyber criminals could be interested in attacking, now it's time for us to see how this particular threat could be spread. Attacks can originate from within an organization or from outside of the organization. Internal security threat is the form of attack that actually, can get originated from inside the organization. In this, we mean an internal user, such as an employee or contract partner, can accidentally or intentionally, originate that particular, attack. Okay. When we say employee or contract partner can accidentally or intentionally, we mean accidentally, meaning that person is not informed, is not aware, he or she is not aware. Okay. And then intentionally, like we made mention of gray hat, these people, these people, these people can actually do that intentionally to sell out that information for financial gain or for any motive. Internal threats have the potential to cause greater damage than external threat because internal users have direct access to the building and its infrastructure devices. Internal attackers typically have knowledge of the corporate network, its resources, and its confidential data. They may also have knowledge of security, countermeasures, policies, and higher levels of administrative privileges. So hence, it is very, very important to be very smart and pay attention if you work in an organization so you can understand people very well and communicate effectively. That is internal security threat. We majorly center it around, a disgruntled employee or a contract partner, someone that has direct access, to your infrastructures, to your systems, and to the countermeasures and policies, as well as administrative privileges. Now, second part is the external security. This actually is a kind of easy thing to handle and to manage if you implement security in depth and you implement micro segmentation, you implement a couple of other advanced practices in cybersecurity and security measures. So external threat from amateurs or skilled attackers can exploit vulnerabilities in networked devices or can use social engineering such as trickery to gain access. These are external threats. They have to use their own skills, or they could be unskilled people, but using advanced or sophisticated tools, to launch an attack. So for them, it's just to exploit. What if the vulnerability doesn't exist? If the vulnerability doesn't exist, is someone speaking?
Yeah.
All right.
Please, I have a question about this trickery, such as trickery. What is the meaning of?
What is?
What is the meaning of this trickery?
Oh, actually, it's like a way of tricking somebody. You trick someone, you manipulate somebody so you can get information or you get him to perform an action so that you will leverage on that action to carry out a task or an attack. It's like tricks. Agani, trickery. Okay, so as I was saying, this external threat is a kind of easy to actually to protect, so to say. And it also requires a lot of commitment, from you as the cybersecurity specialist or from the company and the management. External attacks exploit weaknesses or vulnerabilities to gain access to internal resources. That is what I was saying. So they have to first learn about your network, find out whether there exists an exploit or a vulnerability, and then they will gather all this information and start launching an attack. Vulnerabilities of mobile devices. So now, if you have a phone or voice over IP network, what are the existing vulnerabilities that exist on mobile devices? So in the past, employees typically use company-issued computers connected to a corporate local area network. This was what happens before. Today, mobile devices such as iPhones, smartphones, tablets, and thousands of other devices are becoming powerful substitutes for or additions to traditional PC. All right, so more and more people are using these devices to access enterprise information. So using the policy of bring your own device, this particular trend is growing today. The inability to centrally manage and update mobile devices poses a growing threat to organizations that allow employee mobile devices on their networks. So what are we saying? Now, you have to define clearly in your security policy, or rather IT policy, at a very high level. At a very high level, you can tend to say, okay, in your IT policy, you have bring your own device policy. The bring your own device can state whether if you can allow people to use their mobile devices to access network and file server, send emails using their mobile devices. What that means, if somebody get access to their phone, it means they can also get access to their email. It means they can also get access to some of the systems that they use to access on the company. So that is actually what this BYOD actually means. So because it's kind of difficult, to manage mobile devices, as they don't usually have a centralized network. Okay, so but if you're able to centrally manage and update mobile devices, then you can be able to reduce a great threat to your organization. So this is what we are referring, what we are trying to do. So what are we saying? What we are saying in essence, as mobile devices, like the examples mentioned actually above, becomes powerful substitute for PCs, traditional PCs. So this now becomes imperative that so many organizations' data is very prone to attack. So you have to, what will help you protect that is to use the bring your own device policy and ensure that you have a procedure. You have the policy, and then you support it with the procedure that will guide the implementation of this bring your own device policy. Okay, so that is what we are saying there. Emergence Internet of Things. The emergence of Internet of Things also brought about collection of technologies that enable the connection of various devices to the internet. This is something we have been saying. So many things are connected to internet now. So large amount of data is collected. Hence, a lot of things are meant. They are going to happen. So why do we usually speak about this IoT? I want you to please understand the Internet of Things and why it is important for cybersecurity specialists to understand what this Internet of Things is and how it relates to security. Okay, so let me give you a very good example here. Let's say you are using Airtel for SME. Airtel for SME data, routers and stuff like that. Using that device, you have a router and a small radio at home that you can actually connect to your TV, connect to your refrigerator, connect to your wristwatch, connect to your phone, connect to your laptop, and everything like that. So don't forget that Airtel has many devices that are connected online, including their main system. Their biggest infrastructures are all connected online. And of course, if I don't know, maybe if they have not followed a fantastic practical design, which I know they should. So if the network is not segmented, what I mean, if not segmented, it means maybe it's a flat network. There is no virtual local area networks, no virtual private network, no user groups like that. Then you allowing this refrigerator in your house to access Airtel internet will actually poses a lot of security challenges to the Airtel network. Okay, so now the IoT devices, because they usually use open source operating system that doesn't require frequent or doesn't get frequent updates like Linux. Linux is open source. You can download open source operating system and install it on your own device, sell it out. Nobody is going to ask you, why did you use this open source operating system? It is open source and it's open source. It's free for you to use, okay? So in that case, with IoT devices connected online, they are actually mostly using open source operating system that nobody is there to update or upgrade or apply patches and fixes. That also creates a very big security loophole. Hence, it is very important to see how you can secure IoT devices. The IoT technologies enable people to connect billions of devices to the internet. These devices include appliances, locks, motors, and entertainment devices, to name just a few. This technology affects the amount of data that needs protection, right? Users access these devices remotely, which increases the number of networks requiring protection. Okay, these are 2 points again. With the emergence of IoT, there is much more data to be managed and secured. All of these connections, plus the expanded storage capacity and storage services offered through the cloud and virtualization, has led to the exponential growth of data. Okay, please, are we together? Did you understand this point?
Not yet.
Okay.
No,
So,
no.
impact of big data. Now, with IoT and all this data collected from different sources, now we have what we call big data. The result of data sets that are large and complex, quite voluminous, making traditional data processing applications inadequate. Okay, big data poses both challenges and opportunities based on 3 dimensions. So the opportunities that data brought is the volume of data, the volume of or amount of data. This volume of data, it means you have a lot of data. It means you can run you can run an analytics to analyze the data and make an informed decision about the data. The velocity or speed of the data also, and the variety or range of data types and sources. These are different form of areas, 3 areas that big data actually bring opportunities and challenges. The opportunities are, of course, you have a lot of data, you'll be able to analyze the data and then make informed decisions. So you can actually target more, do a direct retargeting. Velocity or speed of data, of course, that will lead you to expanding your scope and horizon. The variety or range of data types and sources, you can get different forms of data, from text to images to videos to audios. All these different types of data could be actually gotten. However, you also need to buy more servers or subscribe to more computing resources, through the cloud service provider you are actually using. And that means more money. Okay? So there are numerous examples of big corporate hacks in the news. As a result, enterprise systems require dramatic changes in security lines and substantial upgrade to technologies and practices. Additionally, governments and industries are introducing more regulations and mandates that require better data protection and security controls to help guard big data. So this particular big data, it actually brought a lot of opportunities and a lot of challenges. Hence, it is important for us as security specialists to understand that, and then to see the areas we can actually contribute in protecting this. All right. Threat complexity. Threat complexity, by this we mean how complex does threat actually be. Advanced weapons, advanced persistent threat APT. This is a continuous computer hack that occurs under radar against a specific object. Continuous computer hack, it means series of hacking activities going on, against a particular object. When we talk about objects here, we are referring to any application or computing system or network that could actually suffer an attack. That is called an object. While a subject is any person that could actually launch an attack against a particular system, networking system, or computing system. So criminals usually choose advanced persistent threat for business or political motives. So this is actually one of the reasons. Algorithm attack and track system self-reporting data, like how much energy a computer is using. When we talk energy, we are referring to the power, and use that information to select target or trigger false alert. Algorithmic attacks are more devious because they exploit designs used to improve energy savings, decrease system failures, and improve efficiencies. In this, we mean, so algorithmic, hello? Hello, are we together?
No, we are together.
Okay. By algorithmic attacks, it means a system attack, actually. It's a system attack, and the system, is a very, very skilled cyber criminal that sat down and write a sophisticated algorithm attack, which will actually be launched, and then it has the power of reading some very, very important design parameters as it relates to that particular target. That is exploiting the design's use, so as once that design is being exploited properly, so they can be able to actually run that attack, and of course till they bring the system down. Intelligent selection of victims. In the past, attacks would select the low-hanging fruit or most vulnerable victims. Many of the most sophisticated attacks will only launch if the attacker can match the signatures of the target victim. So you see, they are very, very specific in the sense that, for example, we have 10 computers in our own network, and one computer carries out, one computer is the server among the 10. So now, instead of using one computer that is already a rogue, for example, it's a rogue computer, an unsecured computer, as we explained earlier, so they will not go for that. They will make sure that possibly they know the MAC address of the server. They know the MAC address of the server. That is media address of the server, which is like IMEI number in your phone. Okay, so it's a hardware number. So possibly they know the hardware number. They can actually work with somebody in the company, like an example of internal threat, to help them get the MAC address of that system and send it to them. If you see this guy is playing gray. So after that, they will now write that algorithm and launch the attack against the network. And then, of course, they will not stop till they actually ensure that the MAC address they are getting matches of the target victim. So they will continue using that. So this concept of continuous computer hack using sophisticated algorithms with a specific targeting is actually what we refer to advanced persistent threat. Broader scope and cascade effect. Federated identity management refers to multiple enterprises that let their users use the same identification credentials, gaining access to the networks of all enterprises in the group. This is very, very dangerous, actually. The goal of federated identity management is to share identity. Okay, this is a fantastic good, what do you call it, best practice. What I mean, federated identity, it means a kind of management that refers to multiple enterprises that let their users use the same identification credentials, gaining access to the networks of all enterprises in the group. The goal of federated identity management is to share identity information automatically across castle boundaries. For example of this is that okay, there is what you call IAM. IAM is actually a term that is used in cybersecurity, which is also refers to this federated identity management. So in that, for example, you have an account on NetAccount. Now you also want to, you also have an account. Okay, you want to open an account on cisco.com. So you don't need to, because NetAccount and cisco.com and skills for all, they are all system that is owned and managed by the Cisco. So you don't have to basically maintain different passwords. So they can actually use, an API, application programmable interface, to interlink both, and then you can use single identity to join. I mean to log in across these platforms. The most common way to protect federated identity is to tie login ability to an authorized device. So, they also use that. So what they do, I think they also either use the MAC or IMEI number, so that they can know whether if the legitimate person that registered an account is the one that is trying to access the system. All right, safety implications. There are many safety implications associated with the dark forces of cybersecurity, including emergency call centers in the US are vulnerable to cyber attacks that could shut down 911 networks, jeopardizing public safety. So, like this 911 is an example of a communication system, which is like part of the areas or domains that cyber criminals target. So imagine someone trying to call 911, which is their, a very central, is very central to them, trying to access help or assistance, and this 911 is actually down. So that is a big thing. So it can actually jeopardize public safety. A telephone denial of service, TDOS. This telephone denial of service attack uses phone calls against a target telephone network, tying up the system and preventing legitimate calls from getting through. This is like normal, just like it's normal, just like denial of service or distributed denial of service. Is just the concept. This is telephone based. So if somebody call, I mean, if session is already established between phone number A with phone number B, C could not get through because already that phone number is busy. I mean, it cannot receive any call except if the existing call is actually over. The next generation 911 call centers are vulnerable because they use voice over IP systems rather than traditional landlines. So the voice over IP is actually a networking system, usually collaboration system by Cisco and other companies. So as we said, it is not using the traditional landlines, it is using IP, Internet Protocol. And Internet Protocol, any device that is Internet enabled, it means that device is smart and it can actually access Internet. So if something is online, then of course it could actually be targeted by cyber criminals. Safety implications. Then heightened recognition of cyber security threats. The defenses against cyber attacks at the start of the cyber era were low. A smart high school student or script kiddie could gain access to systems, of course, using existing even though he lacks the knowledge of, writing an algorithm or writing an exploit or a malware. Now, countries across the world have become more aware of the threat of cyber attacks. The threat posed by cyber attacks now led the list of greatest threat to national and economic security in most countries. So in this section, we have actually seen threat complexity, where we talk about advanced weapons like APT, broader scope, and cascade effects. Also, we talk about safety implications and heightened recognition of cybersecurity. This will be the last part in this chapter. So let's stop and hear from you if you have any question in the last part we discussed. Do we have any question, please?
I think I don't have question from my own side. I don't know who.
Okay, Joseph. Okay, so yes, please. Okay. Okay, so now workforce framework for cybersecurity, like for organizations, you know, and for organizations, this framework will help them to understand what to actually, you know, craft in the job description when they are calling for applicants, and then also it helped them to know what they should expect from a cybersecurity, you know, specialist. So addressing this shortage of cybersecurity specialists, you know, in the United States, the NIST, National Institute of Standard and Technologies, created a framework for companies and organizations that need cybersecurity professionals. This framework actually aids companies to identify the major types of responsibilities, job titles, and workforce skills needed. So for us as a student of cybersecurity, it means and areas that one can lay more emphasis to learn and to be more skillful on, so he or she could be relevant in terms of competing with other cybersecurity students. 7 categories of cybersecurity work. Number one is operate and maintain. This includes providing support, administration, and maintenance required to ensure IT system performance and security. Now, this is like operation and maintenance, right? So you render support, you also administer as well as you maintain, you know, IT system performance and security. Okay. So supporting would actually means using applications to render that support, or physically be in the building where the staff and the infrastructure is located. Protect and defend include identification of what? Of the threat, analysis, you analyze that particular threat, and then if you have the tendencies of mitigating that particular threat to internal systems and networks, then you go ahead and do that. It depends on the level you are, all right? Sometimes, you know, you only be working in the level of identification. Then other guys will be working on the analysis level, and some will be working on the. Either way, you have the privilege and the right to escalate. You escalate that particular threat that you identify to the next level. So there is a series of managerial decisions, of course, that need to be taken prior to, implementing a certain task or even the escalation that I just mentioned. So it's very, very important, for us to understand, the line and the chain of commands. Investigate include the investigation of cyber events and or cyber crimes involving IT resources. So after we operate and maintain, protect, and defend, so we also do investigation. This has to do with auditing. You audit the login or the logs of the system. So you find out crimes that actually involve IT, and then of course, you advise on what to do. Collect and operate include specialized denial and deception operations and the collection of cyber security information. All right, this is these are the areas, 4 areas now. Now analyze include highly specialized review and evaluation of incoming cybersecurity information to determine if it is usable for intelligence, right? Oversight and development provide for leadership, management, and direction to conduct cybersecurity work effectively. Lastly, securely provision include conceptualizing, designing, and building secure IT systems. Within each category, there are several specialty areas. The specialty areas then define common types of cybersecurity work. So this workforce framework, as we have seen in the last slide, it helps organizations and companies to know what is expected from you when you have been hired, and of course, to be able to rate you properly. Communities, online cyber security communities, of course, due to knowledge sharing and networking and stuff like that, we have professional organizations that champions that. Cybersecurity specialists need to collaborate with professional colleagues frequently. International technology organizations often sponsors workshops and conferences. Visit each side of this, and then you explore resources available. So SAT, SANS, MITRE, FIRST, Info Security, Information System Security, ISC Square, and multi-state. I will personally advise on 2. ISC Square is quite very good place. They have fantastic resources, and they have a lot of things there to learn from. SANS, SANS is also a very good place, for cybersecurity student to actually be going there. All right. And for skill building purpose, there are, so many competitions, even though these are US based, however, you can actually do them because you want to build your skills and also you want to add to your CV. So what is expected in today's skill set is that you as specialists, you need to have the same skill set as the hacker, especially black attackers, in order to protect against attacks. So if you don't know much about, the skill that, the hackers have, then it's going to be difficult for you to protect, the organization you'll be working with. Individual build and practice skills necessary to become a cybersecurity. I mean, how can an individual build and practice the skills necessary to become a cybersecurity specialist? This question is quite, very important. So student skills competitions are a great way to build cybersecurity knowledge, skills, and abilities. So with you, looking at this site and trying to compete with others, like you are studying cybersecurity across the world, it will help you to explore, the kind of challenges and tasks ahead of you in order to become a leader in the field of cybersecurity. There are many national cybersecurity skills competitions available to cybersecurity students. So part of them are here, and as we mentioned. So I will stop here and then end this call so we can just join in a few seconds, please. Sorry for the inconvenience.
What time is the class supposed to expire, please?
12:30, please.
12:30.
Yes.
No.